In this video, I'm going to share some tips for college students, tips I would give to my college self to be very successful and efficient in college and beyond in future career and life. Number one tip is learn a successful time management system. So because your input to your life or the resource you have, really one of the main resources you have is time and focus, right? And if you want the output to be success, in whatever you would like success in, you really need to manage this resource in a very thoughtful and systematic way. So let's say you have competing priorities. You have studied your coursework. Maybe you're looking for an internship. You have some hobbies. You have some student group you like to participate. Of course, you have social life and relationships you want to manage, exercise, and so on and so forth. Then how do you actually manage your everyday tasks and time to make sure that you actually can achieve those things you want to achieve? Maybe you cannot do it all, right? But if you have to pick, what are the priorities? And if you have a longer term goal that you want to actually be able to do, right? Like, for example, you want to land a job somewhere, you want to be an expert in a certain topic. How do you make sure that you manage your time on the daily basis that you are actually working towards your longer term goal, right? So how do you make sure that that particular system is in place to make sure that your life is in the guardrail, you're on track to your goals, right? There are many, many school of thoughts on techniques on time management. You could definitely search online and look for tips and so on. Maybe I'll make a separate video for that. One of the actually tips I would like to introduce is the 7 habits of highly effective people, which in that time management system, it basically tells you to categorize any task into 2 dimensions, urgent versus important, right? So of course, you should actually take on tasks that are important and urgent. But when you actually have to pick between important, non-urgent task versus urgent and non-important task, you need to make sure that you actually fight the resistance and actually take on things that are important, although they're not urgent. Okay, but there are also a lot of other techniques and tips that you should learn about. But pick one, try it out, and find the one that works for you, and just exercise and make sure you actually have that muscle to actually know how to prioritize and manage your life, and you're efficient in your energy and focus, and to get to where you want. Tip number 2, which is sort of extension of this time management, tip, is one of the shortcuts to time management in college is to create a study routine, okay? Because one of your main things in college is your coursework, right? And I have a lot of actually students in my class who will scramble at the very end for project deadlines and homework deadlines and exams. But what's more efficient is for you to actually create a habit. You don't have to spend a lot of time. So if you say, hey, I want to do 15 minutes of every class to review the notes, or I want to do 15 minutes before every class to just prepare myself. Make that a habit. Put it on your calendar. Make it recurring. Make sure you do that, right? Or you have the syllabus, you already know the projects. Block off time for you to be like, this is next week. The deadline is due for this homework. I want to make sure that block off time for that from the very beginning, and I make it as a recurring habit, right? So you have those routines, those structure built into your calendar, and that could be your basis and your skeleton for you to then surround everything around it. But you want to create that structure in place. So you make systematic progress towards those core studies, those coursework. The third tip is surround yourself with what you want to become, okay? You want to create the environment for you to be successful. What is that environment like, right? So if, let's say you're interested in certain coursework, or you're particularly interested in entrepreneurship or this particular, activities, go to a student group, join a student group where you surround yourself with people who have very similar interests, and they're passionate and they're enthusiastic and they want to be successful, right? And if you want to be successful, surround yourself with people who want to be successful, right? Because you get that feedback, you get that energy, you get that actually, those obsession and passion from other people too. And it is a community that could actually echo your passion and energy, right? So one of the things people didn't know about Einstein was after he finished college, which he didn't really do super well, he actually started a study group with people who are passionate about physics, right? And his first publication was actually coming out of that study group, right? This is a person who says, I want to achieve certain things and I want to be surrounded with that environment that motivate me and keep me on my toes, right? And that's what you need to do. If you want to be successful, create that group, the environment that want to be successful, and you get that daily feedback and that session. All right. The last thing I'm going to say here is be your own cheerleader, okay? Because you will run into ups and downs. You will run into failures. You will run into obstacles. And people who are high achievers are typically very hard on themselves, right? So sometimes I hear students say, why did I bump this? I could have done better. I'm such a loser. I didn't know this, blah, blah, blah. And you could be critical of yourself. And it's very important for you to have self-reflection, looking back and say, what could I have done, right? What should I do better next time? But also do it in a way that's encouraging instead of harsh, right? Because you actually need that, not just in college, but in 10 years after college, 20 years, 30 years. And you are the only person that could be the strongest, most consistent cheerleader for yourself. So try to learn to talk to yourself in a way that pick yourself back up, right? Sometimes a good trick is to, if you did something that you're not happy with and you want to talk to yourself and have that self-talk and internal conversation, talk in a way that you're talking to your best friend, right? Let's say this best friend made this mistake and he or she is really upset about it. What would you say to him or her, right? Say it the same way that you're saying that to yourself, right? So you will say, hey, yes, you did make this mistake. Let's take a look at what we learned. But there are always opportunities for us to do better. So let's look at the opportunities. And remember, it's not how you fall, it's how you actually get up. You will say those encouraging things. So this is actually one of the critical skills I think you need to learn early on in life, that to have that self-positive talk and be a hype man and be your own cheerleaders, so you could actually handle failures and disappointments in life in a much more graceful and encouraging way.